Hello, Carrots here. Welcome to episode 4 of the Cake Island Mermaids. It's been quite a while since I've done an update for the Mermaids in Cake Island. Now, as you can see, I've got Salty, who is there in the dark hair, and the long blonde-haired Triton King have still got the scales of the wrong colour. It looks like George Flower is asking Salty for a DNA sample, which is exactly what he's going to do, which is good because some of the mermaids are going to get cloned. Now this is downstairs. They go down that spiral staircase from the little hut that's above that they were all standing in front of a second or two ago. And there's George Flower. He's going up to the science machine where he's going to clone Salty. I'll continue talking about scale colours while he clones Salty. Because remember, originally they all had individual scale colours, and then there was a bug introduced to the game, and now all of the male mermaids end up with blue scales and the females end up with purple scales, unless you do something to change the scale colour. And it's around this time that I became aware that it might still be possible to put their scale colours back to the original colours. So I did a bit of research, and eventually I did manage it, and I'll show you the process as we go along. In this video it looks like I'm on the way there, but I haven't yet quite got them back to their correct colours. Now George Flower here, he is a fairy that I turned into a mermaid by adding the mermaid occult, and I made up his own scale colours. Now he is cloning a baby from a DNA sample. Now I've discovered that when little boy mermaids are cloned, they originally have orange scales. So when this baby becomes a toddler, as a baby they don't have scales because they're wrapped up in their little blue blanket. So that's Salty's clone, who I called Sandy. Now the clones don't have anyone else in their family tree, that's just themselves. There is Triton King looking at the fish. And now I have tried to change his scales. As you can see, when you saw him a few minutes ago, he had blue scales, but now I've made them yellowish, and so I'm just trying to go on the descriptions I've found on the internet, but I don't yet have the proper numbers or the correct scales and the correct places. And I've also changed the scales of Mia Azul and Maya Ocean. As you can see, they started out with their default purple scales, and they both have similar scale colours, and I've tried to adjust their scales to what I can get by reading descriptions. And I will have changed Salty's scales as well. I think his are the ones that I got closest to right from reading descriptions, but they still weren't quite right. That sim on the left is Jim Reed, and he's one of my sims from 2009. The sims on screen now are a witch mermaid, Belinda Bombay, Bunter Stallings, the old butler, Petal, our little plant sim who came to us from the Perfect Genetics Challenge. I found out the reason I couldn't get the flower trails from my plant sims was because I had the Go Here mod installed, and I've taken it out, and now I have flowers when my plant sims walk. This is the nursery I've set up for the toddlers, where they can learn all of their necessary skills and sleep and just be little toddlers. I originally had their cribs upstairs there in the hallway, but I've moved them all down into the nursery and got rid of the cribs upstairs. This is their indoor pool. It helps them to stay hydrated, but they do still have to swim in the ocean. So I've built them some dive lots, because there were no dive lots originally in this world. That's Maya Ocean. She, of course, is one of the towny mermaids from Isla Paradiso. Her scales are fairly close to correct colour now, I think. I didn't know fairies did that. I suppose they must. I've probably just forgotten. Now, I haven't done anything to Maya Ocean other than adjust her scale colour. So this is how she comes with the Island Paradise expansion pack. This is the second bottom basement of their huge house that I've made for the mermaids in Cake Island. As you can see, I've still got lots more decorating to do. Now this is the ground floor. Those strange looking plants there, they came from Souris, S-O-U-R-I-S. and they're recolorable, so I can get all sorts of colours with them. I actually got them initially to put into my Cake Island save that I am setting up for the McFluff story, which is where they will end up by Generation 5. And I plan to move this lot into that particular world that I've been setting up for the McFluff story. At this moment, the world that I'm using is Cake Island, the empty version of Cake Island, and I've not added anything else to it other than this one lot that the mermaids are living in at the moment. I'm going to have to break them up because there's just too many in this household. There's not only mermaids, there are human Sims as well. Now again, they're going to go for a swim. They do need to swim in the ocean every 2 or 3 days, and when I take them for a swim in the ocean, I tend to leave them there all day. So we won't be seeing them hanging around all day long, but we will see them swimming for a while in the dive lot that I made for them. And this is a new version of the dive lot where I followed the instructions in my own tutorial that is in my channel, where they don't jump up in the air when they cross the boundary. So here they are down in their own little dive lot that I made specially for them. Now that mermaid that just appeared on the left, she is not a part of the household. She has just turned up. The game has just generated her, and you see she's got the purple tail. So that's it for their diving. They seem to love watching the fish in the digital fish tank. And I suppose if the fish were alive, they could enjoy watching the Sims watching the fish. It always amazes me how muscly the mermaids are in their arms and shoulders when they're really only using their tails and legs to swim. They're not doing a proper butterfly stroke, which is what you'd expect them to be doing to have such muscles in their upper bodies. This is just giving you a bit of a look at the pool that I built downstairs for them. I originally built their pool upstairs, but they were getting dried out from being in the sun. Now this is the nursery that I've made for them. This is Petal, a little plant sim that I moved in, and also the clones. I've cloned George Flower, the fairy. His clone didn't also have that mermaid occult, it's just a fairy. And then I cloned Salty Seaworth and Mia Azul. So there are 4 toddlers in this particular game. So there's going to be lots of toddler training. I think little Petal did most of her toddler training already before she came here from Perfect Genetics. That's Estelle on the right, helping Triton King watch their fish. Estelle is a made-over version of Ella, who you see in the sprinkler in one of my other videos. It seems Suki is hungry. She's one of the 2 new Sims I made when I wanted to play with mermaids. And Triton King's just arrived and volunteering his services with toddler training. He's picked up little Sandy Seaworth. Sandy's the clone of Salty. And the other Sim in the background just behind the playpen is Michelle Martin, and she's teaching little Gavin Flower how to talk. Now Gavin is the clone of George Flower. George is a fairy originally, but I added the occult state of mermaid to George using Master Controller, and I cloned him just to see what would happen, and he got a fairy clone. And little Gavin is not a mermaid, he's just a fairy. And Michelle Martin is one of the 2 Sims that I made when I first started adding custom content, skins and hair to my game. Sarah Jane's the other one, and she's the Sim running around wearing a towel at the moment. That Sim that just walked past, that is the male Sim, Simon, and I made him especially to be a mermaid. He's not been in my library as a human Sim. Now see, this is Suki. She's the other one that I've made from scratch as a mermaid just for this game. And that little toddler she put in the playpen then is the clone of Mia Azul. So here is Sarah Jane now wearing her towel. She is the other Sim that I made when I made a whole group of new Sims after first adding custom content, skin and hair to my game. I rarely get to play any of that group of Sims, and I've added 2 here, Sarah and Michelle, who you can both see at the moment teaching toddlers to talk. Sarah's just picked up little Mary Azul, who is Mia Azul's clone. We'll see all of our little toddlers growing up, first of all in this series of videos with the Cake Island mermaids. Then I will move their whole household, including their home, into my McFluff version of Cake Island. And we will see them all growing up there. They'll be in separate households. I'll break them up because this is too big a household to be left alone as townies. And I see that little Gavin Flower has now learnt to talk, and he's hungry. Needs a bottle. Michelle doesn't want to know about it. She's had enough of toddlers for the moment, I think. Fortunately, Estelle is quite happy to come out and to the rescue and give him his bottle. There's plenty of activity with having such a large household. Unfortunately, there's too many Sims in this household to keep them together when I put them all into the world, which is going to be packed full of Sims, because I'll be moving Sims into Cake Island from various games. We'll get to know them all gradually. And Salty's turned up. He's going to teach little Gavin Flower how to walk. It's good having so many different Sims here available to teach the toddlers. Keeps the toddlers busy all of the time, but probably tires them out a bit. But at least they don't get a chance to sit and scream, at least not for long. So long as they're kept fed and clean, they're happy to work on their skills until they get tired, and then they get put to bed and they sleep. So they're not too bad, actually, to take care of them. It's the butler just went past in the top hat. He was a useless butler, so I just added him to the household using Master Controller. He was almost never at home. He was their butler when they were all living in the Skylight House and in Alla Paradiso. The same group of Sims are still living in that house, and I'm doing another series of videos on the Skylight House mermaids, and it's the same mermaids as I've got in this series of videos, except I'm just keeping that other lot in Alla Paradiso, and all they're doing is showing off my Skylight House that I built years ago, and I had it in my showcase thread in the Builders Forum, and then it got deleted. I don't know how it got deleted. I didn't delete it, but it can't be got back again, so I decided I'll do videos instead of maintaining a showcase thread. I'd spent such a lot of time on it and had so many wonderful comments from people. It was very disappointing to have it deleted on me. So I've got this game set on high free will, so we just see them wandering around and keeping themselves busy. They seem to just be circling at the moment if they're not busy with the toddlers. That's Maya Ocean. She was one of the originals from my Island Paradise. That's Matthew Rudd. He came out of my library. He's evil. And I added Mermaid to him and gave him a green tail. So now Mia Azul's come in to help with toddler training, and she's teaching little Gavin Flower how to potty. And there is Petal again. She's working her way through her toddler books. She'll be aging up to a child shortly. The others have still got a lot of toddler training to do, but she's nearly finished all of her books, and when she's finished all of her books, she'll become a child. And it's not long after she becomes a child that I actually move them all into the other version of Cake Island, and I stop playing this household on its own, and I start moving around all different households in Cake Island. I might actually start a new series of videos for that, just so you can see and get to know who lives in Cake Island before I move the McFluffs back in there when we get to Generation 5. Just outside the nursery there's a ping pong table from University Life. That's an EP I still need to explore fully. And that's Jim Reed on the left and Michelle Martin on the right, playing juice pong apparently. This is something that they decided to do all on their own free will. That's Matthew Rudd, the evil mermaid. And that's Sandy Seaworth sitting in the playpen learning something. They do learn a few things out of being in the playpen. Ooh. So she just had to drink a cup of juice. Seems to be game over. there's Jim. He's heading up to the surface. We'll see what he's up to. I've got those little rooms surrounding the staircase on each level so I could lock the doors to keep the paparazzi and other visitors out, because this top room doesn't have a proper door. He's gone to the chicken coop and he's going to have a chat with the chicken. It's not Charlie the evil chicken, it's the hen. So he's quite safe there. Haven't seen Charlie for a while. Have to include him in one of my videos one day soon. So here's the toddlers still reading their books and learning their toddler skills. Petal's getting close to the end of that book. I think it's the last book she's got to read. So she won't be aging up in this episode because it was almost over, but I think she will be aging up in the next episode. That's the garden. We've got the garden there, so they've got fruit and veggies to do things with, and also to let them learn their gardening skill. There's George. He's about to start learning a bit about gardening by the look of it. There's the ground floor, and that's a swimming pool over there, the indoor pool. I've tried to vary the look of the different little rooms that putting the doors in to lock the paparazzi out of each level around that spiral staircase. And I did some decor in this corner, and they've now got a wishing well so they can go fishing inside the house when it's raining outside. Looks like he missed out on his lucky coin. So that's it, the end of the video. I do hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. And in the meantime, happy simming. Bye bye for now.